Hello there, everyone, and welcome back to Canine. Kid. Wow. Canine cannibalism. Jesus, my voice did not want me to say that. Today we are going to be taking a look at Toxic Love by Kristopher Triana. The book is 178 pages, broken up into 20 chapters and a prologue. I will give you a quick blurb. A crime scene cleaner has a new partner. Not that unusual in such a profession, but her twisted desires quickly take hold of him and he finds himself going to depths he never thought possible in order to sate her needs and his own. Gonna be doing all the normal shit in this video today. Going to be giving you a content sample, which if you are unfamiliar with my channel, it's just kind of a novelty trigger warning, a little bit more robust, a little bit more content, but essentially the same general idea. We will also be doing, obviously, a review of the book, review and ratings. We'll be going over a plot summary, and then we'll be done. So, stick around if you're interested. And without further ado, we are going to get into the content sample for Toxic Love. If you were to pick up a copy of Toxic Love by Kristopher Triana and read it and move my fucking chair over a little bit so I'm in line with the camera, good shit, you would find all of the following. You got gore, torture, mutilation, and death. And in this book, that does include self-harm. There is also sexual abuse throughout the book, including wound fucking and necrophilic acts. In addition, you have a couple of scenes with feces, a couple of scenes with vomit, some intimate partner abuse, some addiction, in this case alcoholism, and your general filth, which in this book does include hoarding. On top of this, there are a few heavily implied but never shown things, including physical abuse of children, child death, suicide, and incest. That's your content sample for Toxic Love. Pretty standard Kristopher Triana stuff, if you ask me. About the same level of disturbing, gross as something like Full Brutal. Maybe a little more disturbing, maybe a little more gross. A little less disturbing, a little more gross, actually, now that I think about it for another second, but generally the same type of thing. We are now going to jump into our review section, and I'm just going to get right into ratings because I have nothing to say that is not inherently related to one of my ratings. If you are unfamiliar with my rating system, I take a series of attributes that you could give to a book, and I rate them on a scale from 0 to 10. These first numbers are rated on a scale of 0 to 10, where 0 is really bad, 10 is really good, and 5 is completely mid. Nothing wrong with it, not good, not bad, just there. For Toxic Love by Kristopher Triana, your plot and plot direction is a 6. I was invested in the plot. I was. And I would say, for the most part, I enjoyed it. I was intrigued. I wanted to see more. I wanted to keep reading. There was one thing toward the end, obviously wasn't that big of a deal, score still a 6, where it kind of seemed a little bit too much like a movie for my taste. This is going to be kind of like light spoilers, so just be warned. There's a character, and they get killed, and then in a fit of rage, their family member kills someone else, and then turns on the person who killed their family member. The person who killed their family member then kills them, and they had a sort of relationship, all right? The killer catches the victim of this scenario, and the victim then tries to choke out their last word. It's very movie-esque. Like, they run to the victim, and they slide and I don't know if they actually slide, but that's how I pictured it in my mind. They run, and they catch them as they fall after being shot, and then they're choking out their last words and last wishes, and then it goes right back into all of the extreme horror nonsense, really, really awful, gross shit, but it was a bit too movie-like for my tastes, if I'm honest. Not that big of a deal, just something I noticed It's a 6. I enjoyed the plot. I thought overall it was done very well. Your tone is going to be a 6. It was fine. It was above fine. It was decent at certain points. There was suspense. Not a lot of suspense, but there was suspense. I felt it. I felt it within. There were some disturbing scenes came across as very, very disturbing. Some hopelessness, that kind of stuff. You really felt for our main character. You want him to win, but you also understand that he's kind of the bad guy or one of the bad guys. There really are no good guys in a Kristopher Triana book, except for fucking what's her face from Full Brutal who gets baited into suicide. But there really are no good guys in a generally in a Kristopher Triana book. In this instance, you want him to win. You feel for him. The tone does a very good job of getting across how he's feeling, but you also understand that he's a bad guy and you really shouldn't be feeling for that like that for him. Your characters and character development is going to be a 7. Triana does a great job generally with his characters. Kim from Full Brutal was great. I want to say his name was Chuck from They All Died Screaming. Though I had my problems with that book, he was great. The serial killer in that book was great. Generally, he's very good at writing these characters that are very flawed and in certain cases very evil. Specifically his men, he's very good at writing evil, kind of sympathetic male characters. In this book, it's kind of the same thing. He's more sympathetic than, say, someone like, again, I believe Chuck from They All Died Screaming. He's more sympathetic, but he's still a douchebag. He still does things that put other people in danger. He still blames other people instead of himself. He's still very much a fuckwit, but Triana does a good job penning him. So, your grammar and typos is going to be a 5. There were like 1, maybe 2 typos that I noticed. So, I just gave it a 5. There was, I want to say that he mentioned perfume as being subtitle perfume, and I was just assumed that was a typo for subtle, but I looked it up and maybe it was subtile perfume, which is, I think, a brand or something. So maybe I just misread it and there was only 1 typo. I don't know. I don't know why I'm harping on it considering there were only like 2, but not a big deal. It's a 5. Dialogue, also going to be a 5. Perfectly serviceable. A couple of lines were over the top. Lots of swearing, but that's to be expected in like 99% of these books. Lots of swearing. Sometimes felt a little over the top in a couple of circumstances. In this one, towards the end specifically, but overall it was perfectly serviceable to the plot. It's a 5. Prose, also going to be a 5. Generally fine. One thing that of note, again towards the end, and sort of throughout, I want to say it's almost like Triana's style, but I really don't recall it being like this in Full Brutal, which is the most recent one that I read. It's very expository. In a very particular scene, it's very expository, very over the top and cheesy and expository. It was a bit much. Think Aaron Beauregard toned down about 10 times, so still kind of like expository, cheesy, over the top. A bit much for my taste, especially towards the end in a couple of scenes, but overall it was perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. I want to get that across. It was a 5 across the board. These next 2 numbers are your disturbing factor and your gross out factor. They are rated on a scale from 0 to 10, where 0 is not gross, not disturbing, and 10 is the most gross, the most disturbing. For Toxic Love by Kristopher Triana, your disturbing factor is going to be a 6, which, if you watched my last video, it's about as disturbing as Billy Silver was. Maybe a little more. I'd say maybe a little tiny teensy bit more. There is necrophilia in this book, but the necrophilic acts, I don't know if this was intentional or not, okay? They're not really penned as being extremely horrifying in the moment. And if that was done intentionally, I applaud the writer, because this book is narrated by the protagonist, and the protagonist is very flawed. And when the protagonist is engaged in sexual acts, and the sexual acts happen to involve dead bodies, he doesn't see it as wrong. He doesn't perceive it to be disturbing and vile. He does beforehand, and he tries to convince himself that it is afterward, but he doesn't feel in the moment like it's disturbing. So if that was done intentionally to get that across to the reader, I think it was done very well. If it wasn't done intentionally, for me, happy accident. I think it worked pretty well. But I want to stress that the necrophilic scenes with like corpse fucking, it doesn't really come across as very disturbing. It comes across more just like a hardcore porno scene. So, which in and of itself is disturbing, but your gross out factor in this one is a 4. So, going off of Billy Silver again, it's a bit more gross than Billy Silver. There is some feces, some getting rubbed down in feces and blood, not with specific emphasis on the feces itself, but the blood more so, and the feces as a result of rubbing yourself in corpse juice. Pus, urine, generally corpse fucking on corpses, fucking with corpses, lots of corpse stuff, fucking in decomp, which is just disgusting. It's a 4. That's going to be it for your ratings and review. We are going to jump into a plot summary now. Heavy spoiler warning, as always. If you are unfamiliar with my plot summaries, I take my summary and I purposefully leave out certain bits in order to make sure that you have a different experience if you were to go and read the book. Aside from that, if you were to go and read the book after the summary, you would have a different experience anyway. That's always the case. No summary can get across how a book feels when you read it, unless they're literally just reading from the book, which some people do. Some people do that. I think it kind of defeats the whole fucking purpose of a summary, but that's just my opinion. I would highly recommend you go and read Toxic Love by Kristopher Triana either before or after this summary. Look at that fucking cover art also. It's fucking great, brilliant. I like the yellow color. I really do. I don't know about the gas masks. I don't know that crime scene cleaners necessarily wear gas masks. I know they wear like respirators sometimes. There is a description in the book of them wearing like a gas mask. I'm not entirely sure about that. Probably could look it up. Don't care enough. You can go do that yourself if you really care. It could be a little scavenger hunt for you. Go look it up and drop it in the comments. There we go. Engagement farming. That's good. All right. Fucking, what was I saying? Plot summary. Yeah. Leave now. Spoilers. Yada yada. Mike, our protagonist's life, has gone to shit. He was fired from his well-paying HR job. Well-paying. He says he made like 50 grand, so I don't know, decently well-paying. Not like upper echelon, but he was making money. His wife divorced him and kicked him out. His kids are a mess, and every night he drowns himself in a variety of booze. He now works cleaning up crime scenes. It doesn't pay much. But it pays enough. The only issue is that his fellow employees keep quitting, so he has to pull double shifts in order to get jobs done. His boss brings in a new partner for him, a young, beautiful, brilliant girl named Sage. During their first job together, Sage remarks how a room smeared with the remains of a woman is beautiful. She then convinces Mike to fuck her in a bedroom coated in the viscera of dead kids. He does it. Doesn't really need much convincing in the grand scheme of things. Afterward, she explains that she has a blood fetish. It started small, but quickly grew into something monstrous. She does her best to convince him that what they did was okay. Mike never truly believes it, but it doesn't stop him from continuing their little workplace affair. I would bring up not shitting where you eat, but they literally roll around in shit together, so I don't think it matters. They continue doing jobs together, fucking on them, and then cleaning thoroughly. One night, at a particularly bad scene, they are both discovered by their boss. He fires them on the spot. Frantic and worried about losing Sage forever, Mike begins cutting himself for her before sex. It works for a time. However, all the good things come to an end, and Sage eventually uses some of her connections to her criminal cousin Lester to set a gig up for her and Mike. They will clean up the violent aftermaths of a local organized criminal group. This goes swimmingly and progresses to a stage where Sage and Mike have sex on top of a dead body. Later, Sage gives Mike a Christmas present, a garage filled with dead bodies, most of them female. Mike freaks out and tries to leave, but Sage convinces him to fuck her for 10 big ones. He does so, and fucks some of the bodies as well. Sage explains that Lester is a hitman for the local mob, and that he had some of the hits brought to her. Mike continues his attempts to repair his relationship with his children. As things start to look up, he realizes he needs to leave his life of crime and corpse fucking. When he breaks the news to Lester and Sage, Lester threatens to kill him for his comments. He says that Mike is in too deep to get out. The three go to the next job. Mike vows not to fuck Sage, but like most of his vows, he breaks it immediately. Lester then brings in a hit, explains that he is a turncoat and child pornographer, and tries to force Mike to kill him as some sort of initiation. Mike refuses and gets into a scuffle with Lester. Lester ends up shot dead. Sage freaks out. Her and her cousin were incestuously close. She then laments how they need to kill the hit Lester brought in because he's evil. Mike can't do it, though, as the man is tied down and helpless. Sage then says that she'll do it, telling Mike that she's killed vagrants in the past for her own sexual gain. And then Mike makes a comparison about how she's just as bad as the child pornographer because she attacks the vulnerable. She attacks the man, and Mike realizes that he needs to kill her to protect society as well as himself. Most importantly, himself, obviously. He shoots her, and he also blames her for all of the things they've been doing, and he's like, well, if I kill her, then I won't be forced into all of these situations anymore. She then has Mike fuck her in her own blood, and has him come in the bullet hole in her throat. They describe it as like a reverse deep throat. She dies. Mike takes the bodies, cleans the scene, and buries them deep. He is later brought in by a local higher-up in the mob. He manages to convince the boss that Lester and Sage ran away and went with the hit to the rival that he had turned coat for. He then vows to continue cleaning for the mob to protect himself and his family, hoping that he won't be tempted into any deviancy now that Sage is dead. And yeah, that's it for your summary, and honestly, that's it for your video. I know this one and my Billy Silver video have been kind of, shorter when it comes to like review wise, or at least they feel that way to me. I still think a good chunk of the video is the review, like the majority of the video is the review. I don't want it to feel like I'm just getting up here and going through the motions. I enjoy making these videos, these reviews. I enjoy reading the books specifically. Don't much enjoy editing my videos. That's like my least favorite part, but you know, I get it done. I'm not going to pay someone to do it. I'm not going to have someone else to do it because each of these videos kind of feels like my baby, and I don't want someone else to raise my baby for me, if you get what I'm saying. So it's annoying, but I do it. I enjoy it. I enjoy making these videos for you guys. I like that people watch them. That's really the only reason that I do it, is so that people can watch it. Don't really care how many, just hope that some people see it. That's really about it. Yeah, like, comment, subscribe. If you liked this video, please. I will read all my comments. I'll drop you a like, drop you a heart, and I will reply if applicable. I would highly recommend that you read Toxic Love by Kristopher Triana. It's a pretty decent book overall, I would say. It's fine. It's nothing fucking immaculately incredible. That's a tautology, whatever. But it's fine. If it sounds interesting to you, I would highly recommend it because overall I'd say it's pretty decent. What else? Anything else? My opinions are my opinions and my opinions alone. Please go form your own opinions. As I said, read the book. Always good. Be a normal human. Don't take what I say as gospel. I do not know all. Go form your own opinions. Always good. And, yeah. That's about it. See ya.